10 years in the nuclear energy is like 1 year in any kind of other business. Because the decision I'm making right now are for the next 20 years. And where I'm shocked is that there is, when you ask them, I mean, how you're going to do that? I mean, tell us, I mean, 22% of energy is a lot. I mean, are you going to stop electricity 1 day a week or something like that? I mean, there is no answer. There's absolutely no answer. So that means that they may maybe build a new coal power plants, gas power plants that are going to produce CO2 emissions. They may import from France. And I'm not sure even France has the capacity of doing that. I don't know if you know that, but in France, when it's very cold during the winter, actually France imports from Germany. So it's something that I'm not sure is doable. So I'm really, I mean, I'm really shocked by what happened. I think it's a bit egotistical and even hypocritical. What are the I mean, what are the reactions across Europe? Of course, Austria has been against, but you can see UK, I mean, is moving forward with nuclear energy, even after Fukushima. Actually, Poland, I mean, the Eastern Europe countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, I mean, they may see an opportunity now to build nuclear power to supply Germany. Here in the US, I didn't see any kind of very, I mean, I must say that the reactions right now are very, very moderate and rational, so I don't see a big reaction. I mean, again, the Germany example is very, very special to Germany. Every country has a specific set of issues. Again, here, the nuclear fleet, I mean, is very well guarded by the nuclear regulatory commissions. The nuclear fleet has been reviewed, I mean, in details after 9/11, in details. Actually, the event of a blackout, I don't know if you know that, blackout meaning power loss, was really studied in detail after 9/11 here. So I don't see a big reaction so far. But there will be a debate across Europe. I mean, there's no question about that.
Yes. Steve Dolly with Platts. I'm jumping back for a moment to the prospect of a reprocessing center in the U.S. A few years back, I believe AREVA was in discussions with a number of U.S. utilities on a very preliminary level to consider this project. Can you tell us more about where things stand with those discussions with U.S. utilities, and has that changed post-Fukushima?
Actually, thank you so much. So now it's a state of discussion between us and utilities here in the U.S. to build a recycling center. Actually, I must say it has accelerated after Fukushima. It's very interesting. Because one of the lessons learned, remember I talked to you about the plane crash and we need to learn. I think one of the things we are discovering in Fukushima is that leaving the used fuel into forever into a spent fuel pool may not be a very wise decision. It may not be safe after all. So it really give us the moral obligation to say, what do we do with the 60,000 tons of spent fuel? I don't know if you know that, but we have, as Americans, we have collected 60,000 tons of used fuel, because we can reuse it, across the US. And most of it is in a spent fuel pool. So we're in discussion with several utilities right now. We are waiting for the BRC conclusion to move forward, actually, and we're going to be much more vocal by the end of the year to put together an alliance, maybe to move forward with utilities to advocate for much more loudly for a recycling center somewhere in the US. Yes, I don't know. I'm not the moderator, so you have to defer.
Llewellyn King with the White House Chronicle and Hearst New York Times Syndicate. I was wondering, relatively, nuclear power plants seem to become more and more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that, compared with what they were, say, in the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
In today's, even in constant money,
Mm-hmm.
they seem to be much more expensive. Why is that?
I'm not sure I agree completely. I have to look at the numbers, because in constant money, I don't think they're very, very expensive. First, what happened is that I would say the first plant that we were going to build and we were building are expensive. Why? Because what people forget is that, you know, we didn't build either in Europe or in the US for the last 30 years. So in order to build a new nuclear plant, you have to rebuild the entire industry. It's what happened when we started actually our project in the first project in Finland. And this project is very expensive, as you know. But when you look, we are building right now 4 what we call Gen 3 reactors. The first one is in Finland, and it's going to come online at the end of 2012. The second one is in France, in Normandy. But again, I invite you to come and visit. It's going to come online around the same period. And the last 2 one are in China and in Taishan. And they're going to come online around also to 2012. And it's very interesting because you can see, I mean, there is really a reduction in cost, actually, as you say. And I would say we're going from, I'm going to give you numbers so you can play with, but we're looking at the first one will be around 5 billion. I mean, it's 3 billion plus 2 billion overrun. I mean, it's public. The last one are much more cheaper, actually, and we'll go to, we can go down even to 3 billion. Euros. Yeah, euros and dollars depend. So and to answer your question, even if these plants have much more, they have much more safety, I would say, safety systems, and much more actually safe, and we can discuss about the safety system in detail if you want. I don't think, I mean, on a recurring basis, they will be so much more expensive. The issue is really to rebuild the industry. And that's why here I'm advocating for building a few plants now in order to rebuild the US supply chain. The US supply chain has been destroyed. It's very difficult to find a very good supplier now which can be certified, which can be nuclear certified, actually. And we have actually, we are planning what we call suppliers days here. We had about 4 already to certify new American suppliers.
I'm Akira Okada with Yomiuri Shimbun Japanese newspaper. I have a question about the Fukushima reactor. So, could you tell me about your decommissioning reactor plan about Fukushima plant?
Excuse me, I don't understand the question.
Decommissioning reactor.
Yeah. No, what about decommission? Are we going to decommission the reactor? That's what you're asking?
Yeah, so there are many plans about the decommissioning. So Toshiba company presented some 10 years decommissioning plan. So
plans. Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at. Okay. Thank you. Yes, about decommissioning in Fukushima reactors. I think there will be 3 phases, in my opinion. First one, the most important right now, is to decontaminate the water. I mean, I don't know if, I mean, you know very well that actually I think the only way to cool down the reactors was to pour a lot of water, first seawater and now clean water, on the top of the reactors and the pools. This water is heavily contaminated now and prevent workers to access actually the reactors. So that's why actually we proposed about a month ago this system. It's like it's like a mini plant next to the plant to pump all the water and to decontaminate the water. So it will take a few months to do that. Afterwards, what needs to be done is to shut down forever actually the reactors. In order to do that, we need to restore what we call permanent cooling, and it will be done, I hope, by the end of the year, but this TEPCO knows more than me. What needs to be done afterwards is to take care of the spent fuel. So there needs to be or used fuel. There needs to be a comprehensive plan to evacuate used fuel from the plants. Use fuel in the pools and use fuel in the reactors. And only after that, we could think about decommissioning the reactors. But honestly, we have across the world, and not only AREVA, but all my, I would say my competimates, we have a lot of experience. Because that was done, all of this was done, one part or another, was done in TMI. It's exactly what happened in TMI. Evacuating spent fuel, we've done it all over the place. Decontaminating water, actually, we do it all the time in France. So the pieces exist, but it will be a long recovery. And also, we don't want to forget about also I would say, removing the pollution. Because what really needs to be done, and I am sure the Japanese are going to do that, is to make sure that people can return. And so it will be a long, I would say, maybe it's a few years here to, how would say, decontaminate the soil, so make sure that everybody can return home around the site.
Thank you, Kana from TV Tokyo. I just have a general question about the Fukushima plant. That the situation. What do you think about the Japanese government response from the beginning and now? And also, what is the issue next?
Okay. Again, what I would say always, people tend to forget, and especially here in the U.S. and Europe, that it was the government was confronted to a natural disaster of epic proportion. I just want to give you a personal story, so I mean, it really brings this home to everybody. We had workers on the site over there when the tsunami hit. We have about 18 people on the site, and everybody was safe. And one of our workers actually was supposed to be off shift this day. And I don't know why he decided to say, "Oh, I have nothing to do. I mean, I'm going to see my friends and help them in the control room." I don't know where it was. And he said, "This stupid decision saved my life, because when I tried to go back to my hotel was gone." So I would say that the Japanese government, from my eyes, has done everything possible under circumstances that are beyond what we could imagine. There were no roads, there were nothing. So I will never criticize what happened over there. I mean, it's very difficult. I think the situation now, it's almost under control, I hope. But again, what needs to happen next, it's what I said. It's we need to focus on decontaminating, cleaning the water as soon as possible, so we can shut down the reactors for good. And on the long run, okay, what I said, it's we need also to help recover the lands that are around the reactors, so people can return. Yeah.
Right here.
Aisha Roscoe from Reuters. You talked a lot about wanting a recycling center here in the U.S. I wonder, could you talk a little bit more about what actual steps would need to be taken for that to happen?
Okay. Contrary to the popular, I would say, thinking, there is nothing prevents actually us to build a recycling center in the U.S. The law doesn't. There is no law for, but there is no law against it. So it can be done. What needs to happen is, first, I think I think the federal COP will help, because we need a body that can really work and have the independent, can be independent from, owned by the federal government, but can be independent from I would say political swings, so can get the money and can plan, because we need long-term plan. Again, nuclear needs long-term planning. We can't afford to have 2 years in one direction and the next 2 years in another direction. Democracy in America is great; it's the best democracy in the world. But it's not really, I mean, in that term, it needs to be isolated a little bit. So isolation from a political swing. We need also, from the NRC, we need a new set of regulations. And I think the NRC is working on that right now. We may have a new set of regulation by 2015. We need a coalition of suppliers like us, but others, and also users, utilities. And it's coming, moving forward. So I think what you will see in the next few months, it's really all of this coming back together. And I'm very hopeful that we can start planning for such a facility by 2015. Planning. Yeah, it will take a long time. It's a very long process.
When you say federal COP, you mean an agency that's focused on this?
Yes, exactly. Like a TVA, like, you know, a TVA for, you know, Tennessee Valley Authority. It's a company, but it's owned by the federal government with a very special mission. At that time, it was really, I mean, electrifying the Tennessee Valley. Here, it will be a federal corporation focused on on solving the waste issue in the U.S.
In the back?
Good morning, Matthew Trotter with Cronkite News Service. Do you anticipate a region or state in the U.S. that should be prepared to step in and take a recycling center or start off a nuclear energy boom?
Yes. Again, you will be very disappointed because I'm not going to give you names, but I can tell you that if we put through my personal contacts, and I've been here a long time now, you will be surprised that if we really launch this idea of a recycling center with an investment of, again, between 20 to 30 billion, you will see actually a competition between different states and between different communities to get the recycling center. Very interesting.
Gentleman right back there.
Hi, my name is Takao Ikeuchi from Kyoto News, Japanese news agency. My question is about ministerial meeting. There's going to be a ministerial meeting in IAEA end of this month, so, and they are going to discuss about nuclear safety. So what kind of result do we expect at the meeting?
So, I mean, I wish I could tell you. I mean, I think it's very important that all the countries, I mean, dealing with nuclear power and all the main actors, I mean, get together. I don't know what to expect at this stage. I mean, it will be great also to have a better understanding how to